Welcome back to Dangerous Rhetoric. This is episode 109, correct?
109.
Yes. Before I jump into it, as always, please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and donate if you want to help us keep doing this. We just applied for monetization, so we'll see if they approve us. Fingers crossed. And even if they do approve us, that probably won't last very long, but whatever. Still pretty cool. With all that said, and a big thank you to everyone. We are joined today by a good friend and Twitter mutual of ours, although we haven't met in person, a based gender critical gay man. I don't know if you want to identify that way. How do you identify?
That's pretty close. Yeah, I would add that to my list of identity traits. Sure.
Yeah, Storm Robinson. Storm, thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be an exciting conversation. And you've been on a live stream before, so this is not technically your first time on Dangerous Rhetoric, but this is your first formal conversation with us. So
yeah, correct. I was just saying this is my first formal podcast. So other than the live streams you guys have had me on, first time ever doing a podcast. So
that's
happy you guys. You guys asked me a long time ago, and I've just kind of been kicking the can down the road because I've been nervous about it. So, but I thought, this is a good one to kind of start out with. So, happy you guys have had me.
Thrown yourself a little more out into the public political social commentary sphere now, so I guess it's appropriate for you to be doing podcasts, and we're going to talk about some of that. You went out on the streets in California and covered some of the protests going on during a Trans Day of Visibility, correct? It was that day, right? Or was it Vengeance the next day?
It was I thought I mean, this one was particularly advertised as the Vengeance Day, but it seemed kind of loosely organized, you know what I mean? I think some cities had it where the first was going to be the Day of Vengeance, but this one, the flyer for this one specifically said, Trans Day of Vengeance. But
I was under the impression it was March 31st was the Day of Visibility, and we were up in Vermont during that, doing our own thing.
Cool.
There, so we'll talk about that too. And then April 1st was supposed to be the Day of Vengeance, but apparently a lot of them had canceled their event because people were being mean, even though you made it a Day of Vengeance. ridiculous. Okay, so before we get into that stuff, the meat and potatoes, I want to get a little backstory on Storm Robinson. Who is Storm Robinson? Where were you born? Where did you go to school? Where did you study?
Yeah. I'm mostly I'm literally kind of a nobody, right? Storm Robinson is just a dude that has a desk job, and I studied economics, so that should tell you that I'm a pretty boring person.
Economics is interesting. It can be.
Nobody is a nobody. It can be, sure, but
everybody's somebody.
I kind of I like to be kind of a nobody. I'm not an activist. I don't want to be an activist. I'm not you know what I mean? I'm literally just a dude with a Twitter account that kind of got I don't know, wrapped up into, not even wrapped up, just a voice inside of the gender critical side of things. Hold on, I just dropped my douche box.
I mean, wrapped up, I guess, is one way to put it. I think I would say you're someone who felt passionate about stuff you were seeing happening in the world that you felt you needed to say something about. And there's courage in that. And if anything, we need more people who view themselves as the average Joe types to be doing that. That's the only way we're going to make any kind of headway in all of this.
Yeah, sure. I think that's probably true. And that's kind of why, I don't mind talking about it. I think it does need to be talked about. And, as gay men, I think we have a little bit of privilege to talk about it. So, my background is not really related to anything activism or gay rights. I've kind of just been this dude that's, a millennial and had all my rights kind of handed to me. It was just a personal journey of learning to accept myself and coming out. I didn't have to kind of ask the world to accept me or tolerate me. I find that most, at least in the United States here, especially in California, but even from being from the Midwest, I found most people are cool. And I've always appreciated that. So I'm I think that's great that we can be in this position. But what kind of got me speaking on the gender critical thing was, during COVID, I ended up on Twitter just because every other platform had either completely shadow banned me or banned me, and I'm just kind of a reply guy on on the news mostly, right? So I ended up on Twitter, and I was not a fan of the pandemic policy, so it was mostly just my way to like scream into the void, and make jokes and do just shit talk. Like I just like to shit talk on the news mostly.
Yeah, that was how we found because we were doing the same exact thing.
All I'm doing is right. It's like I just want to make fun of like what I see. Like pretty much why I go on the internet is just to make fun of shit and hopefully say something funny, and if not, like make funny reactions. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I was like, it was like the peak of COVID, and I was just kind of had began networking with like a bunch of moms who were like the only people I feel like were brave enough to speak out against like things like mask mandates and vaccine shit. And I don't, sorry if I can't say those words. I don't want to like bump you guys down in the rankings and stuff. So trying to be cognizant of that. But so I was just kind of against all of like, I'm not against vaccines, I'm not against masks, but I am against mandates, and like I personally don't want either of those for myself, right? But I don't care what you do. But I just found that like moms were like the people who were brave enough and willing enough to stand up, and so they eventually kind of started networking with me, and I ended up with group chats with them. And I would see conversations about what was going on in schools, obviously, because that's a big topic, even with the mask thing. And as gender ideology kept getting pushed and stuff, I guess kept seeing things like LGBTQ plus and all this. And like at one point I said to them, I was like, it's not really LGB, like that's always been here. It's just like what this TQ plus stuff has kind of started showing up, and I think it really should be separated. And it was just like a thought I had. Like I've never cared about this conversation. I've always thought it was kind of stupid. I've never wanted to be part of it. I thought like this is just such like a niche, weird conversation, the whole gender thing. And so it was just like something that never interested me. And I like one day just made a tweet in passing, kind of like after I had noticed that this like gay people were being associated with like this gender ideology that was starting to show up in schools. And I said something just kind of facetiously and sarcastic, like, like what a time to be alive when gay people have to stick up for straight people who like literally just want to send their kids to school, without having like the rainbow shit shoved down their throats. And like, obviously I didn't say that, but like it blew up, and like it was the first time anybody had ever read any of my tweets. I'm pretty sure. Like I normally was just like literally just a reply guy, kind of a troll, and it blew up, and everybody's like, you need to say more on this, and thank you for speaking up and all that. And I was like, is this really like? I thought this was just like an issue that people like. I thought most people were based in reality, and they just realized like, like let. Me, I'm like a live and let live. So I just didn't, I didn't care. I don't care what adults do. I don't care how you live your life. So it's just a completely uninteresting topic for me to be in. And it was only like when I realized that it was kind of becoming in schools, and I accidentally like spoke up. And so, like I said, like I got a lot of really nice positive feedback from that, but I also got like a lot of shit, like a lot of shit. And it was the first time that I've like ever gotten like, like I don't care, but like it was just very vile. And I was like, wow, this is like the worst homophobia I've ever seen in my life. It's like online internet bullies, like these TQ plus kids, So I just like followed up on that, like with sarcastically with like LGB and the scissors TQ plus sort of stuff. And I don't know, it was kind of funny to troll the haters for a while. Until they got serious, you know what I mean? So I was just having fun, and then I ended up in this conversation. But yeah, no, my background is not really like, I'm not an expert in this. I'm not a journalist. I don't even like, I'm not a citizen journalist. I certainly don't see myself that way. And I think like, today was the first time I realized that, I had to ever say that to somebody. It's like, I'm not a journalist. I don't want to be a journalist. I'm not like, I'm just a dude with a Twitter account. So I think, like my background's not really even relevant to like why I ended up at a protest or anything. My background's just pretty basic. I'm pretty chill dude. I get accused of being like this right-wing extremist on the internet, but like I just think I'm funny, and I actually kind of lean left. Like I'm a middle of the road dude. Like I don't buy into horse shit. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like, I just don't buy into horse shit. So like the gender thing never sat with me, but I never had a problem with how people live their lives. And then I made a comment, like an innocuous comment on the internet, and then they were just so vile that I was like, well, fuck you guys. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm going to drag you along a little bit just because it's entertaining. And then like, by the time they started like calling my work, I was like, okay, well, this is bullshit and it's personal now.
We'll get into that stuff. Yeah, you're moderate. Brett and I are fairly moderate politically ourselves. I lean conservative on some issues. Other issues, I'm maybe a little more liberal.
I'm full ultra MAGA.
Kind of normal. Yeah. And let's comment on your like Matrix glasses too. We just didn't even address that.
It's bright. My eyes are watering behind here. Oh, gosh.
People are probably looking just Brett wearing these.
This light is so bright. There's a lot of light in here, people. It's very bright. I need to get some of
Do you guys have like, do you have like those ring lights? Is that like the bright stage lights?
Flat panel.
Yeah.
I have it set to like the warmest setting, so it's like candle-ish. But you know,
it has the colors. It sends like
it's warm.
That's
I'm
nice.
sweaty. My hair is long.
It's been getting hot.
I like to hide behind the Matrix.
You're in California, so you're probably used to the heat. We're over here, and it's just
not this year. Yeah. We're like an Arctic zone this year. It's crazy. It's been the coldest winter of my life. But
it just started. You guys here. We're like mid 60s, low 70s right now.
So to recap, you're a normal guy who decided I'm gonna speak out about some of the stuff that's happening in regards to the mandates and the craziness that was happening during the lockdowns and the COVID policies. And you also accidentally kicked the hornet's nest when it came to the TQ plus movement or ideology, we'll say. And this was something that you didn't even realize was, at first at least, was as big of an issue as it is. And then suddenly these parents start coming and supporting you because obviously the first people who are going to be concerned with this stuff are going to be parents if it's beginning to seep into schools and the mainstream in the way that it is. And then suddenly it dawns on you like, wow, this is actually like a bigger issue than I realized. And Brett and I kind of have a similar story, although we came onto this earlier. And really my breakthrough moment for the whole gender queer and all that stuff and the pronouns was Jordan Peterson, when Jordan Peterson got canceled in 2016 for speaking out against Bill.
Wow, 2016. Yeah. I see, like, I'm like so late to this. I had no idea.
Early as that, you know, when he spoke out against Bill C-16 and compelled speech and all of that happening in Canada, and just the response to that happened with him. And then he did those interviews with Joe Rogan. I think the first one was in 2017. And everyone, go back and watch that first episode Peterson appeared.
Prophetic.
Everything he said would happen happened for the most part. You know, he said this issue was going to become bigger. It was going to spill out of the universities into the mainstream culture. And that it would turn into what it is now. You're seeing these radicals now spilling out into the streets, and they're erasing biological sex. They're trying to compel people to speak a certain way, and they're trying to get people fired from their jobs and even fined and all that stuff. Like they're passing laws where you can't misgender people and all of this crap. So like we saw it coming. And then I think what happened was when the lockdowns happened, it created an explosion of this stuff because they locked the entire generation of young people in their homes where all they had was access to the internet and they weren't going outside anymore. And a lot of them probably became more socially awkward. They probably had issues already that got exacerbated, and they end up on Tinder and they end up on TikTok and they find this stuff, you know, and that's why we found like this huge explosion of people identifying as trans and non-binary from 2020 onward. And I think that's a big part of it. And that's why it kind of accelerated the process. At least that's what it seems to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. You know, definitely during the pandemic, it became more prominent. I guess, like, you know, a lot of people talk about peaking, and I have a personal like problem with that, the word term peaking, because I'm never sure. Like, I've had lots of things that piqued me, like PIQUE peaked, you know what I mean? But I don't know that I've ever been like peaked, you know, like a mountain peak where people talk about like the issue. But it definitely never, I guess it's wrong to characterize it to say like it just like I realized like, oh, the issue is huge. Like I knew it was a culminating issue. I just always I think I actively tried to avoid it because I didn't want to be associated with it, you know what I mean? Because like like I just, you know, like I'm just like a gay dude, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just living my life. Like I don't you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't want to be associated with like the gender thing. And I even in college, like I ended up with like a ton of anthropology courses that I took because they fit into my schedule. So, you know, like I'm no stranger to the concept of sex and gender, and I'm totally cool with it. Like my brother was actually way ahead of me on, like, he's a shit poster too, and he was way ahead of me on like when the bathroom bills were coming along in 2015, and I just thought, this is so stupid. Like this applies to nobody almost, you know what I mean? And like we shouldn't even be talking about this. It was kind of my thing on it. But I remember having a couple conversations with him where I would actually defend, like, oh, you know, if they identify as a woman, like they're saying it as in gender, and you know, fine, like they're transgender, not transsexual. And I was always like, that's a fine compromise with me. Like, if you want to, you know, if your gender is woman, but you are cool with the fact that your sex is male and you shouldn't be competing against women in sports, like, cool, do your thing. I have no problems with it, you know what I mean? But I wasn't in tune to like a lot of the other issues until like, you know, I guess I had another peaking moment where I was out to a gay bar and like totally drunk off my ass, admittedly. But I ended up getting thrown out of the bar because I called a transgender woman a dude, not a dude, but dude, and just said like, like she kept touching me, and I was like, you know, generally I don't want to be touched. Like I'm not a touchy person. Like if I don't know you, don't touch me. You know what I mean? Like it just makes me uncomfortable. And so like I finally said, dude, you got to stop touching me. Don't touch me. And it blew up. Like she kept screaming like he's misgendering me, dude. And
So
the gays around me were like, dude, not cool, dude, not cool.
Did you see what he did there? He took the offense of touching you inappropriately without your consent and flipped it. He did the narcissistic reversal and flipped it into something that you did back because you used the word dude.
Yeah, totally. And I ended up getting kicked out. Like, I mean, I just could not, like, I couldn't defend myself. It was ridiculous. There was like 3 or 4 other dudes that were like, you know, around being like, no, this guy, he's not cool. He's not cool. Cause, you know, I was like, fuck that. Like, I call everybody dude, you know, like trying to defend myself. But again, like I was drunk off my ass too. Like, so I just wanted to close my tab and get out of there. And I tweeted about it and everybody was like, this is SA, I guess I'll say. And I like, it's for me, it's I'm not saying that. Like I'm not saying that. Like I'm a dude, I'm a grown ass man, I can handle myself. Like I'm not accusing, it was inappropriate. You know what I mean? And so like, but that was a moment. I was like, but yeah, it's inappropriate. But like, you know, I also think of trans women, like, or I did, like right up until recently, I didn't care, you know what I mean? But like I just didn't know about autogynephilia or anything, but I thought of them as gay men who are just extremely flamboyant. Like I never thought of them as women. I still don't. And like, that's what I thought of this trans woman, you know, who was passing enough where it feels natural for me to use she, her pronouns, whatever. I don't care. So it just kind of falls out that way. So I'll use it. But that was a big moment. I was like, well, this is okay. You know what I mean? That's kind of not cool. Like I'm an actual gay dude and I'm a really chill dude. You know, like I might not seem like it on Twitter because I think I'm funny. And so I'm kind of an asshole sometimes, but it's just to be funny. But like I am a really chill dude. Like, and so I was just kind of like shocked. I was like, holy shit, me thrown out of a bar? Like, I guess it's kind of cool, but like, well, you know, like
LA. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
We have a friend who got kicked out of Brooklyn bars because
we can say who that is. He talked about it on the show. So Chadwick Moore, he's a frequent guest on Tucker.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I know him. Well, I know of him.
A couple of Brooklyn bars.
He's banned from like all his local bars, basically, where he lives in Brooklyn. Like he can't go in there. They know
really?
Who he is because he goes on TV and they know who he is. And it's like, oh, you're the traitor gay. Like you're the gay conservative. You're a traitor. They don't serve him. Yeah.
Holy shit! I didn't realize that. I mean, he's kind of like, he's like an editor or publishes stuff though. That right? Like I mean, he has actually like a name, so I guess people would know him. But...
Outspoken USA.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay.
Kind of a play off of Out Magazine, which he used to write profile pieces for. And Out Magazine is a gay, lefty-leaning.
Yeah, I didn't realize that connection.
Well, his whole story was like he wrote a profile piece about Milo Yiannopoulos, and it was like a balanced thing. He wasn't praising him, he wasn't hating him either, though. And I guess they just didn't want him to write about him at all. So when that piece came out, like a bunch of people were really
they don't
pissed.
like platforming.
Yeah. So a lot of his friends, a lot of his friends stopped talking to him. And I think it was after the Pussy March happened in Washington where he finally was like, all right, I'm done with the left. And he wrote a piece for New York Post where he came out as a gay conservative.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, okay. And then he got straight up canceled after that.
That was his big viral moment.
Yeah, that was his big moment. I think that was 2017, I believe.
17.
Yeah. So then he ended up on Tucker, and then him and Tucker became friends, and he's like a frequent guest who goes on there. But yeah, he can't go in the bars in his neighborhood.
That's crazy.
Right? Wow. Yeah, that's where we are.
And I guess the Brooklyn bars are probably, right, like neighborhood bars that you can't go into.
Yeah.
It's
very hipster over there, especially Williamsburg. It's very hipster over there.
In Manhattan, they don't care.
Yeah, Manhattan, they might not know
They'll
him.
take your money for your $18 cocktail and your $7.
They might not even recognize him over here, but because he lives over there, I think
I got you.
People know who he is and all that stuff. But yeah, that's insane, man, that happened to you. And the fact that you were basically, you could say, sexually harassed, and this person flips that on you as
because
you're the one who harassed them for calling them dude, not a dude, just dude, like the general
classic borderline behavior.
Dude. Yeah.
And to be totally clear, I don't feel sexually harassed. I don't you know what I mean? I just don't want to be touched.
Doesn't matter.
You know what I mean?
They were touching you.
Yeah, and I get it that it is, and then for some people that is, you know what I mean? I have different boundaries, and like I said, I'm a grown-ass man, so I don't want anybody to think I'm calling anybody anything other than obnoxious, but you know what I mean? I was like, holy shit.
Stupid.
Well, not just that. You should be able to say, don't touch me, and have them stop touching you.
Well, also, I should be able to say dude to anybody. Like, dude is fucking general neutral. And I recall, I call my mom dude, you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna, it falls out of my face. I can't help it. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody is dude until you're not. Like, it's just, I'm sorry. So you have a nickname, you're probably dude.
You're probably dude. Yeah, you're not the only one who talks like that.
So 2 weeks ago, or do you want to, I want to fast forward to this stuff.
Yeah, let's get into that stuff. Although,
you went out to the street.
I think before we get into this, we should get into what happened where you started to get more harassment on your Twitter page. And this was before you went out on the street, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, totally. Like, I've never
he's getting canceled on Twitter for eons.
Where you had people get so pissed by something you tweeted, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
They had your account.
I am too. It happens quite a bit, but at one point,
it went viral.
A really big account. Yeah, and somebody had I don't even think it was that bad. I mean, maybe somebody can pull it up. I can't remember. But at one point when the TRAs were pissed at me, or the TRAs were pissed at me, it was maybe the end of August, early September. You know, that's when they started hitting up my coworkers on LinkedIn and called my work and all this. Which is just it's just frustrating because I make PowerPoints for a living. Let me make my fucking PowerPoints. You know what I mean? It's I literally make charts. Like, call me if you need help making a chart. I'm really good at it. That's literally all I do. Don't try to cancel me because I have opinions, which I just think are funny. You know what I mean? Mostly just funny.
Yeah, but also a lot of this stuff isn't even opinions. It really is just reality. You're not allowed to state reality anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Some of these actually kind of make me laugh. The Mexico thing. Okay. The Mexico thing. I said thinking nobody would pick it up because I kind of feel like nobody picks up any tweets unless they're gender critical, but the Mexico thing finally took off and I was like, perfect, this is hilarious. I know what I said wasn't funny, even though I think Baja should be ours. It'd be cool. You know what I mean? But I just said it because I think the reaction would be funny, and the reaction turned out to be hilarious. I don't regret it. That's funny to me right there. It cracks me up. The only thing I wish I would have swapped South Yosemite for West Florida.
Oh, West Florida would have been good.
But even other than that, I think even I realized I didn't realize there was so much wokeism in Mexico, but I do appreciate the fact that they just make really crude jokes. A lot of the quote tweets look really, really harsh. You know what I mean? But I think it's funny. I like when people rag. I think it's it's like roasting. I think it's great. The sicker you can be, the better for me. So when people tell me to off myself, it does nothing for me. I don't want to. You know what I mean? And it's okay, sometimes it's well played and funny, but I think Mexico did a great job with that. But.
I love it when they get mad. I love telling them that their tears are delicious, And I love responding with gifs, like when they start saying horrible things.
I just hit them with memes, yeah.
And then I'll block, I'll just like do a gif, and then
them
if they want to go back and forth, I just block.
Either they get a hard ignore or just a meme quote tweet of some sort. Just like this.
I wish I could meme. I'm such a shitty meme. I want to learn how to gif, like reply with those funny gifs. I just every time.
Gotta have a cache.
Let me show you the website.
Yeah, just get you can make your own
image flip /meme generator.
You can make your own, but also if you see ones you like that are funny reaction images, just save them and have a folder of these reaction images.
So you can search all the memes here. Like one of my favorite is Magatu. So so we can be
I've been looking for this because I want to up my meme game.
So hot right now,
doing meme lessons right now. So to get back on topic of it, so they really swarm on you. They start contacting your job and your coworkers, people who work with you. And I recall they even went and like found your Instagram and started dropping comments on your posts, like on the post of your dog's birthday. They just started dropping comments, nasty comments on there, and you're just like, dude, posted my dog's birthday.
Yeah. Oh, that thing pissed me off. Like, you can't piss me off on the internet. Like, you can't offend me. I think I got offended once actually, and I was like, I called the guy out on it, and I felt stupid for it. But like, you can't offend me, but you can make me like just be like, my dog. Okay, like, come on, it's my dog. Like, it doesn't offend me, but it's like that's super low to go after my dog. So when this guy showed up on my Instagram, which is people do it all the time now. It doesn't. Whatever, what I mean? Whatever, I don't care. But like, what? You show up on my Instagram and reply under my dog's birthday photo to tell me like I'm a transphobe? Cool. I don't care, buddy, but like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Weird placement, I thought.
It is weird too, because it shows that they had to make that extra effort, that they were so upset about stuff you tweeted about on Twitter that they went to go look for you on your other social media so they could tell you just how much they hate you.
I think also because like I am nobody. Like my Twitter like kind of blew up in the last year. Like a year ago, maybe under a year ago, literally had no followers. Like maybe 500, and they were bots probably. And I had my Twitter account since like 2013 or. Oh no! Like since 2009, I was like 13 years old when I lost it.
Suspended for a while too. I recall.
Yeah, I was suspended that's when I finally got like super pissed, and I thought like I am gonna be an activist, and I bought a website and all this other shit, and I was like, well, you can't silence me and all this, and then I kind of got scared to move forward with it because I do have like a professional career that I have to protect to some degree, and at some point, like maybe I won't work where I do, where, you know what I mean. So I was like, I got a little bit scared to actually move forward with it, but when I got like canceled from Twitter, and I was just like, oh, fuck you guys. Like, this is crazy. Because like, I haven't even said anything like ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not hateful. Like, I resent that notion. Like anybody would say I'm hateful. Like, I am an asshole. Yes. I own that too. Like, and I think I'm funny, and I will continue to be a funny asshole. And I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about it, but I'm not hateful. Like, I don't hate anybody. I really don't. Like, I think transgenderism is bullshit, but I fully support somebody's right to transition. If you're a consenting adult, like, I think it's cool. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not hateful. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? If a friend of mine came to me and said like, I want to transition, I probably wouldn't be supportive in the way that, people say you should affirm and be supportive. I'd probably say you should think about something else. But
I would push back and I'd say, are you absolutely sure? And then I would start whipping out the photos,
which
and the data.
Are you cutting off first, Carl?
The data, and I'd be like, look, this is what hormones do to you. This is what the surgeries are like. These are all the complications that could arise, and this stuff is irreversible. Are you absolutely sure that this is what you want to do to yourself? And if they view that as hateful and they get mad at me, I'll say, well, I'm your friend, and I'm telling you this because I'm your friend. And if you don't like that, then that's too bad. Go find yes men and people who are going to just.
Right. Yeah. The yes men thing that's a really good point. Like, it's sometimes saying no is the biggest act of love somebody can do for somebody. Right. Like, and especially like from a parenting or a mentor standpoint. Yeah. And so if somebody came to me, and nobody has ever come to me, like, luckily none of my friends have ever come to me and say, I want to transition. But if somebody did, like I am like you should get dirt in your blood kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way that I think a lot of problems are solved, is you're just not touching the earth enough. Like, come back down to earth. Yeah. Like, our skin is meant to be broken, and get some fucking dirt in it. You know what I mean? And like, realize like, oh, we're on this earth. Like, this is our only, like, this is what we have to do. Right. Is like, get through life like this, and like everything, like, anything from like literally ring lights to like Botox, I kind of think is like a vanity. And so like obviously transgenderism is not going to be something I'm going to be supportive if you come to me as a friend and be like, I want to do this, you know what I mean? But I'm not hateful. I don't give a fuck. At the end of the day, if I march, right, like if I march your ass up a mountain and like talk to you for like 4 hours while we do it, and you get dirt in your blood, and at the end of it you still want to go do it, I'm gonna say go do fucking do it. And if somebody's mean to you for it, I'm gonna be your friend and still tell them to not be mean to you, right? Like I'm not hateful. I don't like. I think that's a stupid way to find happiness, but like, you know what I mean? Like, do what you want. Like, yeah. And so what am I? Anyway, so like again, when my Twitter account got suspended for like just talking shit, literally just talking shit, not, you know what I mean? Like, who am I? Nobody should even take my opinion seriously, right? Like, so when that happened, I did feel a little more mission driven and a little more like, you know, I am nobody, but like I have my voice and I don't care if anybody hears it, but I want the ability to use it, right? And so when I got suspended from Twitter, I felt like totally silenced, and I hate this word, but I felt disenfranchised. Mm-hmm. And, you know what I mean? And I was just like, this is bullshit. Like now it's bullshit that you people, like, you called my work and I kind of ignored it. You know what I mean? Like you've just talked, you found me on different platforms and like all this other stuff, and you like verbally abuse me, and I don't care. But like when you tell me I can no longer speak or just like even make fun of a state of society, then it becomes personal. You know what I mean? And so when that happened, I was like, fuck this. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to let this happen. And so now I am a little bit more like, I feel a little more vested in the issues. You know what I mean? And not to a point where I think like, I still don't consider myself an activist or anything like that, but I do think like, oh, it is important to talk about this. And I realize like most of the time I just talk about it on Twitter. But like, that's where public conversation happens, and people can call me, you know, like just an internet troll, or I'm trying to think of what they called me earlier today, but you know, like you can just say it's not like, it's nothing of substance to tweet on the internet, and like that's fine.
I'm gonna
like that's my only voice. So
I'm gonna push back against that notion a little bit. I think if you're putting your name and your face behind what you're saying, there's some substance there. First of all, and second of all, moving on to what we're about to talk about, you physically put yourself out there, and not even in an activist sense, you don't have to say that, but to confront or at least document and to see what are these people like
to witness
on the street, to witness,
literally to witness.
We've done that before too. It's a scary thing. You don't know what could happen. You could definitely.
I didn't know it was scary. I literally I've walked out before. Like, you know what I mean? I've lived in Hollywood during the BLM riots. Like, so I've walked out there before, and I just wanted to see. I just wanted to see if it was the same sort of movement, and it wasn't.
Bro, you got 1 million views on this.
But what I'm gonna say is this does give substance to what you're doing and saying, in my opinion, because you have skin in the game. That's what I like to call it. Skin in the game.
But it was a total accident. I didn't mean to. Like, but once it started happening, I was like, well, fuck this. Of course I'm posting it, because, like, you know what I mean?
Not being so humble.
You're being humble. You're being modest, and I appreciate it. But the point
I'm not being humble or modest. Like, I'm just trying to, like,
my point.
You know what I mean? Like, I just want people to know that, like, I really have no skin in this game.
You do have,
and this is the way people do this shit. Like, and I think that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
I'm gonna give you guys. Let me give them some volume.
I'm giving you your props. Let me give you your props.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me shut up for a second.
You have skin in the game, man. You do. Like, you went out there, you've risked your neck, you've had people contact your job and try to get you fired. You put your name and your face behind your voice and what you say, and you stepped into the arena. You have skin in the game, you know. And I
suppose
you do, and I take that more seriously than people who say hide behind anonymous accounts or who just tweet things but they don't do anything else. You know, to physically put yourself out there, to actually document what's happening, to put yourself in danger, to almost lose your job. Like,
maybe Storm, can you give us a little context? Like, what was happening here?
Yeah, so this is Hollywood and Highland.
It looks like they took over the intersection.
Yeah, this is like the main intersection in downtown Hollywood, right? Like, so this is how you connect to the 101. This is a Friday evening, so it's like rush hour. And it's a huge tourist spot. And the reason they chose this spot is because the city of LA doesn't require you to have a permit to initiate some, you know, like, public action or something. So you see like a lot of people with, like, you know, religious signs and, you know, small protests and stuff. But this was kind of out of the ordinary. I say that reluctantly because during the pandemic, this intersection was overtaken all the time during BLM stuff, which like, not to go off on a tangent, but I will say that I went and looked at BLM riots as well, which were more energetic and in the beginning felt very authentic and real. And I was never treated this way, right? Like, I was just the same sort of observer then as I was here. And so that's all I was doing is I walked over to Hollywood and Highland, which I live like 2 blocks from. And they had taken over the intersection. Again, this is all unpermitted, but it was clearly really organized. If you look through the footage, you'll see a few key people that are like leading the chants, allowing the buses through, which is cool, but like it was like clearly just because socialism, which was like, whatever, okay, let the buses through. But like what was odd is like it seemed like the police and the metro, like, I don't know if they're police or what they are, but the people that work for the transit authority, they seem to not interfere as long as the buses got through. So it was almost like an agreement between LAPD and the protesters that they would allow them to shut down the intersection as long as the buses got through. So that's kind of what you're seeing here. This is just like the beginning when they're organizing the action, and come to find out they were going to march down to the police station later. But this is just like,
I have some things to say about the police because it was more than not interfere. So go back to that other video, Brent. I want to talk about that person in the other video who appears in another video that Andy No shared on his Twitter profile recently. That one. Yeah. So this person appears in another video participating in an assault, basically, on someone else documenting what was happening there, and the police literally stood by and did nothing. So you can see him, the guy waving his hands around with the the Afghan looking headdress and the bandana.
This one.
That, I'm pretty sure that is the same exact person. They have the same exact face, same voice.
This is a low res video though. Oh, there it goes.
And you'll see.
When is this? Is this recent or is this like this?
I think this was after.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's West Hollywood.
They basically let the mob assault this guy.
Go back. You missed the punch.
When was this? This
punched the guy right in front of the cop. Right in front of the cop.
Oh yeah, that's totally him. That's definitely him. Or them. She. It.
Them.
That's a him.
It's a him. I just
It's
go
him.
back to the beginning. There's no sound on it. Can we use sound?
Yeah, there's sound.
Walk across the street.
Because I want to show what the cop says.
Yo, got one. This is sure. He's touching me. What are you doing?
Look at this weirdo. And then bam, the other one comes and hits him.
Stop fighting.
Oh, and he just says, "Hey, stop fighting." Are you kidding?
Literally saw someone get assaulted in front of him, does nothing to try to arrest that person at all. And then pull up the other clip. Go to Sam.
That's the sheriff's department too. That's not even LAPD because it's West Hollywood. Yeah. Wow.
Watch this one now. Keep scrolling. Go all the way up actually to the beginning. Yeah. There's a whole thread. It's the top thread. Yep. And scroll down a little bit. That one's funny too. The guy's just like dancing around, but I'm pretty sure this is that same protester in your video. And in your video, you can hear this guy say, block. He says, look at this.
Oh, he's scared.
Look at that. And they took his phone.
Oh,
fucking umbrellas, man. Mary Poppins out there.
And then they destroy his phone, and he's screaming for help to the police. No one does anything.
Stop fighting!
Stop fighting! Stop fighting! That's not a fight.
Like, what are you, like a school teacher? Like, stop fighting? Come on, buddy.
Stop fighting! Stop fighting! Like literally gets assaulted, and you just stop fighting! Stop fighting! Destroyed his property. That wasn't a fight. That was an assault, and it happened right in front of them. Crazy.
That's crazy. If somebody had if somebody had stolen or had touched any of my property, man, I probably would have lost it because that's nuts. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. I didn't even know that happened. What event is this? Is this that like that?
This was recent.
Yeah,
Looks like on the 15th.
Yeah, so this was after your footage, and
yesterday.
Your footage too. You hear that Troon say, "Block up."
Oh
block
this was
up.
at a West Hollywood drag queen story hour thing.
But you hear the Troon in your footage says block up, and he's telling his comrades to put your black block up to cover your faces, to conceal yourself.
Block up. Okay, that's what that means. All right. Yeah, I heard that a lot.
Yep, that's what they're saying. They're saying cover yourself.
Yeah, cover yourself
face.
because we're gonna do illegal things.
We're gonna do illegal things, and they'll try to be like, oh well, we don't want anyone to, record our identities or whatever, and they might even use the COVID as an excuse. But it's like, no, you want to do illegal stuff, and you don't want people to know who you are.
Oh, 100%. It was said on the flyer for the the protests that I walked up to. It totally said like wear a mask to protect your identity. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely not a COVID thing. It's a protect your identity thing.
And they make it seem like they need to protect their identity from us, as if we're the people who are going to go and document them and share their identity. We don't do that. We show our faces. They're the ones.
100%.
They take our pictures and they circulate our identities amongst themselves. That's what they do.
Right. 100%. And like there was kids. There was like a point where I literally recorded a kid, and like this is when I didn't know what to expect, but I have a ton of footage of like regular nice people who are like kids who are weird and they're trans and queer and whatnot, but like nice people to actually talk to, right? Like, and they were defending me. They were very empathetic. Like they didn't know that like people were gonna be like surrounding me and whatnot, and they those kids are. They were fine, and they were like nice people, totally different, right? Than like the people who come and surround you. So, I don't even remember why I got really passionate and wanted to say that, but there were like some nice kids that were, trying to defend me, and they were different from like Antifa who were violent and all that shit.
I remember they were saying, let him go, let him through.
You were saying like, they're the ones that want to dox us. I mean, like there was like a kid who was like, do you want to see my face? Like I have a ton of footage, and like this kid was like, do you want to see my face? And I was like, no, I really don't. Like you're a kid. I don't want to dox anybody here. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't out to dox anybody, and I could if I wanted. Like I have a fuck ton more footage. But I tried to take the part that told my story. Obviously, I cut out the more boring shit. But like, yeah, you're right. Like people want to dox, and then they don't want to be doxed. And I tried to make the point like, you shouldn't be, and I don't want to. And like I have that footage, but I didn't release it of the kids. Like I wasn't there to like, go do your thing. It's protests.
This is footage of us. This is footage of us at a drag queen story hour event that Brent and I went to last month in March. And I remember Andy dropped a comment on my post, and he said, did you notice the Antifa photographers snapping shots of your side? It is to add to their dossiers for doxing and harassment. It's what they do. They do that.
No kidding.
They know that we have the balls to actually show our faces and put our names behind what we say and do, and they use that against us. And then when they cover their faces and their identities, they say that we're going to do that to them. It's projection. It's projection.
Wow.
They say they're afraid.
Which one is the photographer that he's talking about in this video?
This chick right here, she was one of
their
the
photographers. This guy was also one of their photographers.
Oh, yeah, there were some dudes like that
right here,
my face.
Probably one of theirs. Yep,
she was.
Yeah, I'm wondering now that you say that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, they've already shared my photo and Brent's photo, not photos they took, but photos they pulled from the internet. Bad photos too. They couldn't even use good photos of us. On New York City Antifa shared our photos on their Twitter account to their 67,000 followers. And they called us.
I get more engagement.
They called us far right streamers, and they accused us of harassing migrants and supporting people like Brandon Struck and Project Veritas, and to watch out for us. And then they tried to.
That's us. We are far. Welcome to the far right
streamers. And
this is the far right.
And they tried to dox our location, our neighborhood.
That's why I'm wearing glasses, because we're far right now.
Yeah, we're far right.
Yeah.
With my rainbow shirt that says gamer.
Look, if anyone knows how people operate in their methodologies and their tactics, it is Andy. No,
you can see this is
when I'm yelling at the dude, and you can see she's like getting me.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
getting me.
Absolutely.
They're like, we're gonna dox
And
you.
then this guy's a famous photographer
I'm like,
here.
dox me, bitch.
I forgot his freaking name. Hold on, let me.
Oh, the black dude.
Yeah,
No, he's good though. He's based.
So,
I think.
well, he documents both sides of an event. So he'll go to events and he'll document both sides of the protests and what's happening. And his photographs, I think, have won awards and stuff. He got a lot of good stuff during BLM and great photos. I mean, he caught one of me really.
That's what photographers normally do, right? Like they're just there as neutral observers. And
that guy is a neutral observer.
Right.
I can't remember his name. I'm gonna remember it later. I'm not thinking about it. But
Anyway,
my friend saw a photo of me that he took on his page from that event, and he sent it to me in a DM, and he was like, "Is that you?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "That is me." Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, "Oh, this
wow."
Miss Daniel. Anyway, let's get back
well,
to
he caught me all being really angry. So, I want to pull that up because
listen to this. You gotta listen to this.
Children.
I guess.
Oh my god, it's so sad.
It's embarrassing.
But if you watch the woman's face, like the right to the left, the woman to the left, like she's there because I think she needs to support somebody. Maybe like her. But watch her face; she's like kind of uncomfortable the whole time. And I thought she was hilarious. I don't even know if she's like audibly making any noise. She's going through the motion. This was early on in the pandemic, or not the pandemic, in the protest, and I thought this was like what it was gonna be, and I was like, fine, obnoxious to block traffic and touch people's cars, but like, I thought like, oh cool, here's my funny video for Twitter because this is hilarious and like this should be laughed at, and then shit got wild, right? Like, but this was like right before shit got wild.
You want to pull up when shit got wild, Brett?
I'm just going down chronologically.
This is when shit got wild right here. This lady, I forget her name. What is her name? She tells us. She tells us Jasmine somebody. Jasmine Abdullah.
I feel a bad vibe about you. Like,
yeah,
not with
you
us.
feel like an evil person or something. I was me.
It's
little ginger dude out here with a fucking camera, all looking dorky. Like, come on.
It's because you're a white man. They don't like white men. You're a white man, and you're not super femme, so they find you very intimidating.
Don't get them on your camera. Get me on your camera, but don't get them on your camera.
This is like, she literally just came up to me out of nowhere. Like this was her approaching me, and I have all the uncut footage too. Like this was obviously cut, but she just approached me out of nowhere.
Oh, honey, well those purple leggings are not okay.
Yeah, and then she starts trying to bring attention to you to the other people, basically.
Oh, totally. She was like the ringleader of. So she announces her name. Like, I'm not doxing anybody, right? Like, she walked up to me and said, "I'm Jasmine Abdullah." Like, she's a fucking celebrity. Like, when I finally got around to googling her and nothing came up other than an article about like she was arrested, I was like, you don't have it. Like, you don't even have a Wikipedia link. Like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Don't walk up to me and be like, "Do you know who I am?" without a Wikipedia link.
Sweetie, get on Twitter.
Link, I don't. Right. And so, anyways, like, she walks up to me and does this shit like out of nowhere, and I literally was crossing a crosswalk, like about to head home, and then she started talking to me. So I was like, "Oh, cool, I'm going where you're going."
Be careful of this man right here.
This one.
This one
Be
right
careful of this man.
He's not out here for us. That's why I'm
He's out here with a cell phone.
He's not for us.
What do you guys not want to be on video for?
God bless you, but you ain't gonna do that. My niece is out here. My niece is out here. My niece is out here. So I'm gonna protect mine. I'm gonna protect mine.
You should.
So don't get that camera on my baby or the rest of these babies.
We have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, man, I feel your
You're in
energy.
public.
I feel your
You have
energy.
no
You wanna
duty.
be-
If somebody's in public, you have full rights to record whatever they're doing in public. That's
You're not just in public. You're in downtown fucking Hollywood. Like, you are in the most recorded place on the planet. Like, if you
exactly.
don't want to be seen, don't go to Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like, dumbass.
I feel like this. The don't record me. It's just such an obvious misunderstanding of what their rights and privileges are in public.
Like,
you don't have a right to not be recorded in public.
And lady, you could block up, lady. You can block up.
No, she doesn't want to block up. She wants to be somebody. Like, she wants to be somebody. Like, the way she walked up.
All that overweight shimmering
There's
back.
a video of her later where she's like, "I'll make you go viral on my page, buddy."
And then you went to her Twitter, and she had like 1,200 followers or something.
It's like I can't find her on Twitter. I found her Instagram, and like I have like nobody. Like my Instagram is nothing. You know what I mean? And like I remember that she had like fewer followers than I did, and I was like, but okay, like nothing on my Instagram's ever gone viral. Like I don't think anything's going on in yours, you know. But like no, she wants to be somebody. You know what I mean? She walked up and said her name, so it's not
all
like
these people do. They all want the attention. That's why they're out there.
Yep.
It's like, hello, honey, you're in the street marching for a cause, and I am taking video for the internet. What more do you want? Like
literally asking for attention.
yeah. And the thing is like you know like she was kind of cool. Like there, you know what I mean? Like I don't like. She was not nice to me, but she's kind of cool. She said she's out there for her niece. Like her Instagram showed that to be true. You know what I mean? And like there was a couple times where she smiled at me because you know I talk a lot of shit, and you know I never felt in any danger from any of these people. Which Andy reached out to me afterwards and said that was pretty naive. And I think he's probably right, especially seeing like just the cell phone thing getting snapped in front of everybody. But
he is
like.
Right.
This is when things started getting weird here.
He is right.
And
brain damage from these people, man. He had to go to rehab and
I didn't know that. I had like he told me that, and I looked it up afterwards, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
They messed him up.
That's nuts. Like I had no idea. And like, had I known that going in, maybe I would have made different decisions. But like, I mean, I'm a scrappy dude. I never felt like I was actually trapped. You know, I knew they were trying to, but. I wasn't there to cause any problems, so I was just like, whatever. You can throw your umbrellas at me and surround me. If I need to get out of here, I'll get out of here. But you know,
all this danger hair. I'm seeing so much danger hair in this crowd.
What's danger hair?
Bright color hair.
Yeah. So
this
nature bright color signifies like danger or poison.
Oh, that is funny. Actually, that's funny. This guy right here coming up.
So this was when they started to surround you, right? And then the footage with the bike really pissed me off. That really angered me. I'm like, and
with the what?
Making it seem like you're over here touching.
We'll get there.
Like,
I mean, we'll get there. But yeah, there's a clip. I guess I'll move on.
So this guy, hold on, go back a little bit. This guy right here, the dude with the mask here. Yeah, this guy is one of the guys that got my Twitter. Oh, Vishal Singh. He's one of the guys that got my Twitter account suspended. He's one of the main organizers here.
Tiny bit.
Now he's not though. Like he only came up to me to that one point, and at one point here, I say to him, "I know you," and then he avoided me the rest of the time. And this little lady just kept saying, "This." I accidentally sound stupid here, but she kept saying something about my camera, and I was like, "It's a $3,000 camera." Ooh. Like, you know, which I just meant to say, like, it is like, I didn't mean to be like, oh, you know, I bought a $3,000 camera. I was saying like, it's a $3,000 camera. Like, if you fucking touch it, like, I probably will take you to small claims for it. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, like, I'm just trying to let her know, like, look, if you can't afford to reimburse me, like, don't touch it. She was an annoying little shit. I have not figured out who she is, but she was that guy just like, a lot of it was just like,
yeah, they try to block you like on Twitter, but in real life.
So earlier on, like way back at the beginning of the thing at Hollywood and Highland, like when the guy was in the back of the pickup truck, right around that moment, somebody came up to me, one of these guys, these Antifa dudes, with like, you know, a bunch of stuff, and he gave me his card, and I have it somewhere. And I keep forgetting to actually look beyond when I initially looked, but like, they're like a group of volunteers who are like actual professionals, and they have a website and all sorts of things. And that's who these guys are. So like somehow they're associated with BLM, and they, you know, organize these whole protests, and then kids come out, and kids are just doing like, I totally support it. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're doing their democratic thing. They think this is a real issue. It's not. Right. So like, you know, I don't want to seem like make it seem like I'm shitting on any of the kids here who might be in the video. I'm totally not. I don't think of them as the same as these Antifa people are violent. But like,
oh my God,
and even this chick right here, her and I became friends at one point because she's like, and like she's obnoxious, sure, but like I don't think I don't know. Like, I don't think everybody's bad. I just think like this is so crazy that we're in this point because her and I would be friends in real life.
They're ideologically possessed, as Jordan Peterson would say.
100%, right?
Like,
And
they're possessed. A lot of them are possessed.
And I thought maybe they were possessed on the internet. I didn't think like this can't be real life.
No,
Like
it's real life. It's real life.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's your friend.
And actually,
Here's Jasmine
worse.
again.
It's worse over there on the West Coast for you than it is over here. At least in New York City, like New York City Antifa, the people over here, they're
a joke.
They're kind of a joke compared to the West Coast and Portland. Like Portland, and,
Portland is nuts.
LA,
Right?
it's like they're way crazier over there.
Yeah, there's cuckoo bananas down on the West Coast.
This guy right here, the guy with the mask on, he got in my face a couple times, and definitely like crossed the line in terms of touching and shoving. Yeah, he's real Antifa-ish. I would like to. I mean, not that I want to dox anybody, but like these people are assholes, and so I'm like, they clearly are doing illegal shit. So.
Elbow and then a knee, and then it would be fun to watch them scream and run away. That would be entertaining.
Yeah. Later on, somebody like literally like uses their bike in front of the cops. Like not as bad as what we just saw for the West Hollywood thing, but like, yeah, I mean, like, they're totally enabled to do what they want.
They won't even let you walk. They try to just block.
Yeah, that's called kidnapping.
Yeah.
And if they touch you or detain you illegally, that's
yeah. I would find it
grounds for an ass whooping
in situations.
Right?
How's that for some far right podcasting?
I would find it difficult in situations like this to keep my composure, I think.
So in this video here, they're actually listing their demands. Like, so we're right by the police station, and down that street there's a barricade of cops, and they're actually listing their demands here. So the cops are watching them surround me. They're watching them like shove their bike into me. There's a cop literally behind me, like behind the camera here from this view, on a one-story roof. So it's like he was like literally 30 feet away, and they do nothing. Which, fine. You know, again, I'm a grown-ass man. I'm not trying to come off like I can't handle myself. But like
something.
What do we pay taxes for? You know?
Yeah. Well, like I brought up the other videos earlier where they just stood around and did nothing. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. They're freaking useless. I think a lot of them either they just don't care.
Stop fighting.
Maybe.
Well, they also know that if they were to get aggressive with any of these troons or their crazies, they're going to be the bad guys.
They're going to be the bad guys. But
if they violently arrest anyone, all of a sudden they're the bad guy.
Look, do your fucking job. That's all I'm going to say. Do your fucking job.
Well, they're not allowed.
If
they do their job now, they will be arrested and prosecuted.
Well, then fucking deal with the consequences. I don't know what to say. Be a good human being. I don't know what to say. If someone gets assaulted in front of you and your job is to stop that or to arrest the person who did the assaulting, that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Los Angeles.
I guess it's Canada, but like with Billboard Chris in Vancouver, I think Vancouver, right? Like it was the same day where like, you know, where I got surrounded. Like he actually got physically assaulted and had blood coming off his nose. And the cops, literally 2 different cops, like the lady cop and then the dude cop, like both like pretty much laughed in his face. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not just even limited to America. It's like
it's
apparently all over Western culture. Like you can't fucking
it's worse
enforce laws for trans people. It's crazy.
In the old crown colonies, the UK, the Canada, Australia,
New Zealand,
it's worse. This mind virus is far more advanced, and it doesn't have nearly as many rail guards as we have here. Here we've got, you know, the Second Amendment, we've got the First Amendment. We've got, you know, a lot of like the problem really is the Civil Rights Act that's kind of made where it's created this like little enclosure now.
Caveat,
they want to get the gender identity in under the Civil Rights Act, but it hasn't really happened yet.
That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, Canada
they are more advanced,
far worse. And again, you know, like I said, one of my red pill moments with all this stuff, the gender queer trans stuff was what happened to Peterson, and he saw it coming, and Bill C-16 was that first step in that direction for Canada, and after that it's just like
you had like a fan club follow you for like a wildstorm.
They loved you.
So the guy with the long hair, so I have there's a little bit of nuance with him, right? Like because he seems very aggressive in all the videos, and I should probably it was just in the middle of like nothing happening, so I had to cut it out. But at one point I dropped my lens cap, like for my lens, and I had to reach down to get it, and everybody started like surrounding me, and like they were gonna take advantage of that. And he's the guy that's been up in my face this whole time until now, but he stopped everybody and was like, "Let him get it, let him get it." And I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what is our relationship here?" You know what I mean? Like, so like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't make really any sense of that except that like the longer I talked shit, because I did just talk shit to him the whole time, mostly, you know what I mean? But like, the more kind of compassionate he became towards me. So like, I do want to throw it out that like, yeah, there's a weird human element here, or at least there should be, if this guy and I had found that mutual moment. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I
Well,
don't think that everybody hates each other as much as we say, because like,
well, look,
you know what I mean? Like, it was just such a weird moment with that dude.
well, we have to remember that even though they're wrong, a lot of these people do truly think that they are doing the right thing, that they are
Oh,
protecting
totally,
trans
totally.
kids. They're protecting the kids when really it is the opposite.
Yeah.
They're harming these kids.
And that's what I saw with a lot of the kids that were there that didn't know. Like, a lot of them came up to me, and like even one person that like, who was a name I don't want to say, but like turned out we were actually mutuals on Twitter, and you know, he's like a really cool dude, and you know, he's there defending me a lot in there. But like, not only just him, but like actual like kids who were there to protest, and some adults too, you know, were like, "This is bullshit. Like, what they're doing to you is bullshit." And like, you know, I got the sense that they didn't know that it was going to be an event like that. It was just like something that's like a social issue they're passionate about. And I support kids. They should do that. Like, I think that's cool. Like I said, like, I kind of lean left. Like, I'm a little bit of a hippie. Like, I think that's a great display of democracy to go
Sure,
be
protest
obnoxious in
is
an
fine.
intersection,
Chubby
make
black
signs,
guy
like
was
yell and shit.
like,
No, I'll clarify too. I'm fine with protests. I've been to protests when I was younger. Like, I understand that. Like, young people are passionate about issues they want to
Yeah,
protest.
exactly. Go do it. Like, even if you look stupid later, go do it. But like,
Physically
yeah, but like,
assaulting, harassing, stopping people from moving, and those things are not okay. Like, that's not part of your protest. You can't just stop someone from going where they want to go, or you can't just bump into
right.
or assault them. Like, those are not legally protected. You have the right to peaceably assemble to express your grievances. That's, you know, peaceably assemble.
Exactly. You know, like, I probably would have put like almost no footage or video up have had none of this shit happen. Like, I literally was just going to be like I said, like, you know, I've been tweeting about this
gave
shit for
you
probably
grade A
a
material.
year. Yeah, you know, and I was just like, cool, I just want to go see it, and like, I'll probably post a couple
This is where
pictures
you
with
were-
some
yeah, this is where
sarcastic
you got
commentary.
that.
And then this happened. Yeah, and this was from the guy that, like I said, it was my mutual, and he actually filmed this. And this just demonstrates, like, I was there for a good at least 10 minutes, totally surrounded by them. Again, like, maybe this is a tough guy in me, but like, I didn't feel trapped. I did know that they wanted me to stay put and not record, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to cause shit. So like, I was kind of being cool, but like I didn't feel in danger, and maybe that's naive of me, but this is totally inappropriate, I'd say, you know what I mean? And this was the tactic the entire time. And there's that lady again who really didn't like my camera. And that guy too. Like, there was a lot of veiled threats. Like, one guy was like, you know, the guy's like, "That's your $3,000 camera. It'd be a shame if anything happened to it," sort of stuff. Why do you feel so safe? Like, why? Like, as if I shouldn't feel safe.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I did feel safe at the time. It was just like, you know, I lived in Detroit for 6 years. I don't give a fuck about you people. You know what I mean? Like, come on. But
people have is bullshit and lies. They like to threaten. They like to cajole, because that's what they're
Cajole is a good
doing
word.
that to getting their way.
Most are cowards.
Yeah, like 99% of them are fucking pussies with big mouths.
But Andy does have a point when
there is that 1% though.
Like, there are some of these people. He's correct when he warned you. Like,
oh, trust me. Like, I looked up what happened to him, and you know what I mean. And I've seen like the stories. It's just like, but like, you know what I mean. Like, Andy's like a celebrity reporter, so like, you know what I mean. It's almost not real life to me when these things happen. And so I was like, oh shit, this hits close to home when he actually reaches out and says it. So it's like, okay, all right.
Yeah,
like, okay.
He's told me he worries about me as well. Like, because it's dangerous. If you go out there and you confront some of these people in person, you absolutely can face assault. Like, you get attacked. You could get hurt. It's very seriously hurt. And they will do that. Even if we won't do that to them. Although I will say, and I've said it before many times, that if someone runs up on me and they attack me, I am going to fight back. That's me. Maybe he's not that type. He's a very sweet man. I'm sweet to a point.
Give me an excuse to break a kneecap.
I'm sweet to
I
a
will
point.
step on your knee and you will scream in pain and you
Brent.
will go to the hospital.
All right, Brent, we get it.
I'm just letting people know. Don't touch me.
I'm sweet
Don't
to a
touch me.
I used to be that way, man. I used to be real reactionary, and now I'm old and kind of slow. But like, I used to be really reactionary. Where you just don't even make a fast move at me.
Girl, I'm 40 and I'll step on a knee. It's easy.
Wait, did you say you're 40? Really?
Yeah.
Brent's 40.
Really?
1982.
Wow. God damn! I need to learn to take care of myself.
You can't see the line.
I'm 32. I'll be 33 in September.
Okay, I would put you in like late 20s, early 30s, so that makes sense. But I would also put you late 20s. I thought I was the old one in the group here, so that's you, Grandpa.
Yeah, no, I'm Grandpa. She's the young buck.
I have all the gray hair. He doesn't freaking have any.
Yeah, that's because you worry all the time about that phrase.
I'm more stressed out. I've had a more stressful life than
you. Got dark hair. I have a lot of gray hairs, but you can't see them because it's ginger, so it just turns white.
I have it in the beard, but when I don't, you can't see it because I shave it.
I have it everywhere now. I even have some on my chest. It's just.
Oh, that's the only place you can see mine. It's like crazy, like 7 long chest gray ones.
I'm assuming we're around the same age. You're like your mid 30s, right? Or early?
Yeah, I'm 34. Yeah, I'll be 35 this summer.
We're around the same generation. Babies.
I look like I'm the oldest one here, but
spring chickens running around here.
But yeah, like I was saying, like if I feel like I'm in danger and you strike me, I'm probably going to strike you back. That's just it is what it is. But it depends, like if you're a journalist, like an actual journalist like Andy, like there's certain things that you can't do,
Yeah.
You got to keep your professionalism no matter what. You're there to document and record, and so it's a tricky sort of thing. And some people, that's just not their demeanor. Like I said, Andy's a very sweet man. He's a very calm, gentle sort of person. That's the impression I get from him. Other people, that is not their demeanor. They're, like you said, scrappy. Like I'm from New Jersey, and like the ghetto part of New Jersey, not the nice.
Is there a ghetto part of New Jersey? Really? I didn't know that.
Elizabeth.
I just think of it as one big suburb.
Elizabeth, Patterson, Newark, the whole New York.
Oh, Elizabeth,
okay. Yeah, well,
Newark, is that where the airport is? Newark, right? I think of New Jersey basically as Newark and suburbs, I guess.
They call it Newark.
Yeah, we say Newark. We don't say Newark.
Newark. They don't pronounce the W.
We don't really.
Newark.
Yeah, it's really close to New York.
No, we don't pronounce the A. We don't say Newark. We say Newark.
Newark.
Yeah.
Newark,
New Jersey. Yeah. Whatever. But again, scrappy. Like I didn't come of age in a small town. I came of age in a small city. My graduating class in high school was like 900 kids. Like it's a big school,
That's huge to me. That's like almost the size of my town. I graduated with like 73 kids, I think. Yeah. I like to say I was in the top 10, and then like when you realize I was 9th, it's like I'm not even in the top 10%.
I was in like the top 200 or whatever, and I hardly even really tried in high school. But yeah, 900, around 900 was my graduating class.
It's huge. So that's like a town.
Yeah, and there were fights all the time in school. People used to like throw trash cans at each other in the courtyard during lunch when a fight would break out. Like I remember Halloween my senior year, someone got whipped with a chain in the hallway. Like a fight broke out and they got beat with a chain, and people snuck knives in the building. I think even.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like.
Wow.
Yeah. So that stuff does give you a sort of a harder shell, a harder demeanor.
Yeah, that's not where my shell comes from. Like the worst thing that ever happened in high school for me, like we had a meth lab next door, but it was like we had what I mean? It caught on fire one day, but there was an entire like 40 acres of horse farm in between. So it's like I went into a school in a very small town, so it's like there's nothing there made me badass or hard. It was like that's crazy.
Well, I got you here. I noticed we had a little point of agreement that is an unpopular opinion right now.
We'll express it
now.
Oh
shit.
And it has to do with Mr. James O'Keefe. Because
okay, yeah.
We also tend to think Mr. James O'Keefe is a little bit of a self-aggrandizing narcissist. And he does a little bit too much.
Well, we haven't stated that on the show yet, although we've certainly tweeted as much online. But
James O'Keefe is a self-aggrandizing narcissist.
Brent stating.
Well, I think that's probably true. Like, and like, you know, I don't think he's a great journalist, but I think he's probably like he makes entertaining shit. Like, to be honest, okay, like I said this because
His best material, though. I mean, we're gonna
like
be real.
this sucks. Like this was a terrible piece. Like, to be honest, like I've seen better shit out of TMZ, and I think that's the most ridiculous stuff ever, right? But like, and I fully admit, like he's done some good stuff in the past, sure.
Yes,
But this is terrible.
Past.
And like
Although a lot of that,
generally, I don't think he's great.
a lot of that he definitely didn't do on his own, and he took
It's
a
true.
lot of credit.
Took all the
for it,
credit?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can imagine that's true. I don't know much about Project Veritas.
I know,
accidentally
like, two-
talked to them
I know,
once
like-
on Twitter before,
I
and
know
the
two
reporters reached out to me and were like, "Ugh." But like he's you know, I think he's a little like there's been some weird videos where he's like dancing and stuff, and I'm just like, you're probably a fun dude to hang out with.
Yeah.
You're certainly entertaining. But you're a paparazzo. You're not a journalist. Like you literally hit people up at the Beverly Hills Four Seasons, where all the like you were hanging out with paparazzi. That's probably like the only reason you knew that Dylan Mulvaney was going to be there is because you're in like the paparazzi telegram, and so you knew he was going to be there, and you went to go do it because you thought it was like, you know what I mean. Again, cool. Go do that. You know what I mean. But you're a public figure, and I'm just saying, like, I think this is bullshit. Nobody should care what I think. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, totally. And I lost, I don't know how many followers, but like enough to go from like, I think it was like 20.1 to a solid 20. And so I just innocuously said like, see, like I really don't care. Like I said, I had almost no followers a year ago. But like, yeah, fuck James O'Keefe, man. Like, I'm sure you're great in real life, but as a journalist,
he's not.
a little
I haven't
obnoxious.
met him. I haven't met him, but I know people who've worked with him for many years.
We've heard from multiple
and
sources.
from
I
what
bet he's great to have a beer with, though. You know what I mean? Like to hang out with. I bet he's funny as shit. Like,
let me clarify.
you know what I mean?
I also think he has done some good work. I respect what he
Yeah,
built
of course.
for
Especially
Project
some of the stuff
Veritas.
with Pfizer.
The thing with the whole, Project Veritas situation, and it really opened my eyes to a lot in the right-wing commentary sphere. The thing with all of that is he spun it into a tale of martyrdom as if he did nothing wrong at all. And I'm sorry, but that is not what happened. It's just not,
What do you mean? What happened? What did happen? I know nothing about this guy other
He's
than
not with them anymore.
Explain it.
He separated from Project Veritas.
Oh yeah, I do know that. But look, what's going on with there? Like I just learned today from the
Okay,
replies about
I'll
Roy
give
and
it get
Cheese.
some water. I'll be right
I'll
back.
give the facts of what actually
yeah.
happened. So the way he spun it is that they kicked him out. That's not what happened. What happened was in early February, he had a meltdown during a meeting where he was confronted by the CFO and the COO of Project Veritas, who had questions about his methods of soliciting donations and some other financial things, and they had some disagreement with him about that. I don't know all the details of that. What I do know is he had a tantrum, and he fired the CFO and the COO. Which he did not have the authority to do that, and no one wants to acknowledge that point. They make it seem like, oh, James O'Keefe, they pushed him out, it was a coup, this and this and that, the investigation was unfair, not acknowledging the fact that like the dude violated nonprofit bylaws. You can't just decide because I disagree with this officer and this high officer that I'm going to just fire them because I'm angry and I'm going to have a tantrum and fire them. Like, no, only the board of directors has the authority to appoint and to get rid of those officers. Nonprofits are set up this way for a reason. They're heavily scrutinized, especially tax-wise. So if like there's anything funny going on with finance, it's like, this is what people don't understand. Even if James O'Keefe being no longer with Project Veritas is the end of Project Veritas, an IRS audit also could have shut down Project Veritas. And no one wants to talk about this fact, and no one wants to talk about the fact, I'm talking about the people who praise them, that you can't just violate the nonprofit bylaws and have no consequences to that. So he initiated that whole investigation against him when he did that. The board couldn't just do nothing. They're like, bro, you can't do that. You can't just fire these guys. So they had forced to reappoint them, reinstate them to their positions, and they put him, on temporary leave. And a lot of the criticism the board gets, and I think there's something to this because people would have been mad either way, is folks think that they should have been more transparent about what was going on instead of trying to hide it. And from what I understand, what was going on with that is they were trying to save face for James. They wanted to handle the whole thing privately. And then someone, we can guess who, I guess, but who knows, right? Leaked the grievance letter that was gathered during the investigation, in which all the employees not all the employees, it was 16 of them and some other ones. 16 signed it, and a bunch of other ones gathered various complaints and things that they had, that against James and stuff that he had done, his behavior from when they were working with him, right? That was gathered after the investigation was launched. The investigation was launched because he violated the bylaws and fired those 2 officers. Those are the facts. Now, you can disagree with how the board handled it. You can disagree with all that stuff, but the facts remain. You don't own a nonprofit once you make it a nonprofit. It is no longer a company that you can use for whatever you want. It's not your private piggy bank. You can't just spend money willy-nilly on whatever the hell you want. He'll make it about black cars or the sandwich and all that stuff. But the point is, if there are any questions about finances, like, the IRS will come down hard on your nonprofit. And if any nonprofit, they would have, if there's any nonprofit that the feds would have a reason to come down hard on and scrutinize, it would be something like Project Veritas.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that he was a nonprofit. Like I remember, now that you talk about this, I remember there was someone like the board wanted to dis themselves, and I was like, boards do this all the time. That's why you have a board, is kind of a balance of power. Like in the profit world, like, get rid of your CEO if they're fucking up. You know what I mean? Like that. And I remember that, I guess, now that you say it, and I thought, like, okay, cool. Like he does kind of suck, and if I was the board, I would probably be saying I want a new CEO too. But I didn't realize it's structured as a nonprofit. That's crazy. Like, it's a media company.
They wanted to resolve it, though, and that's why they kind of tried to keep it on the down.
Yeah, try to do it quietly.
And someone leaked the grievance letter.
Someone,
James, and probably.
I have no idea about, like, I don't even know of James enough to be like, oh, he leaked it.
Might have to cut that. But what the point is they did try to resolve it with him. They did not fire him. They put him on temporary suspension pending investigation, and instead of letting the investigation play out and clearing his name, if 100% that I'm innocent, they're after me, pull the receipts, prove what you're saying about me, and I will fight you, even if it takes a year or whatever, to keep my brand and to keep my team, the team who are still loyal to me. Then you deal with it. But instead, what he did was he gave an ultimatum because his ego was hurt. He told the board of directors that either they step down or he walks. And that's what happened. They refused to step down. So he came in Monday morning on a holiday. He had that meeting. He recorded the whole meeting, which was supposed to stay internal. No one was supposed to see that recording. But
of course he did. I should have known he was going to. Of course he did.
But Tim Pool had that recording
10 minutes later.
Less than 10 minutes after it was finished.
I've never watched anything of Tim Pool. Is he somebody I should be watching? Is that
I like him.
Pathway that should be
I like him sometimes. Other times, I don't know. I mean, I watch him because I do learn things, and he has some interesting guests on there. But I don't always.
Yeah, I've heard him on Joe Rogan, but I've never actually listened to his show. So, but I'm surprised that O'Keefe went to him to leak it. Maybe he's bigger than I realized. But
he's got a big channel. They know each other. And
millions of subs.
Does he?
Millions.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought he was like kind of big.
Yeah, honestly though, I'm so disillusioned with him, with a lot
of gonna get canceled for that too.
I'm disillusioned with a lot of these people, and they're not. A lot of these people aren't what they claim to be on the surface. They act like they care about the causes, they care about the issues, they care about the stories. A lot of them really don't, dude. They do care about the fame and selling takes and who's buddying with who. And this
take sellers. That's what Basil says, right? Take sellers. A lot of them.
He's correct. Yeah. He is correct.
Oh, 100%. I use that term all the time now because I learned it, streaming with you guys because of Basil.
So do we.
And like, it's a lot. I realize like a lot of people who couldn't be famous.
Yeah. Shout out Basil.
Become famous as like a take seller because they're like, oh yeah, okay. Like, that's a real backup pathway.
I'm not trying to start a fire war with O'Keefe and his people and whatever. Like, dude.
Me neither. Like I said, I think he's probably cool, but like some of his shit sucks.
But people act like he's beyond criticism, that he's
right?
infallible, that he's incapable of making mistakes. And I'm sorry, I don't do cult of personality hero worship. I just don't do that. Like,
I don't either, unless it's share.
I supported him for many years. I was always a big proponent of
him.
But like, just knowing people who work at Project Veritas and hearing things about him and what was going on inside, and then really analyzing that situation of how it went down and then how he tried to spin it, I'm just like, I'm sorry, I can't just stand behind that. I think you should have stood up for your team. You should have exonerated your name. And if you actually did anything wrong, you should have apologized and said, look, I'm going to try to do better and resolve the situation and keep going. No, he threw his whole team under the bus, and then he tried to burn Project Veritas to the ground in the process when there are a lot of great
Really?
Yes, there are a lot of great people.
I missed all of this. I didn't even know what OMG Media was. People were like, "Oh, I hope," like, and I in the comments, and then somebody finally, I clicked on it, and he's already got like 500,000 followers.
That was I tagged them. Yeah.
Oh, is that okay? Like, I knew somebody did, and I clicked on it, and I was like, okay, this guy's doing fine. Apparently,
well, he knew he had the
fame. Monetize some of that.
Well, he knew he had the fame, he had the recognition. He knew he could just, instead of let the investigation play out, and it might not look good for him if he did, he could just walk away, spin it as a martyr narrative, because he loves that. He loves to be the martyr. People will say he doesn't. No, the guy likes it, and walk away and start a new thing. But dude, it gets crazier, man. Like, it really gets crazier. Like, what he was doing, like spying on employees, former employees, trying to see who was loyal to him, who he could poke.
Like, he's going, I see.
People don't understand. Like, they just see the surface level. They hear things like, oh, they sold out to Pfizer, this and this and that. Like, that's all bullshit. There's no evidence for that. There's no evidence they sold out to Pfizer. And I can tell you for a fact that
that's a big accusation, because like I don't know much about Project Veritas, right? Like, I mean, I see this stuff, but like I'm not a huge fan of like the style of it, I guess, and like I guess we'll see where they go since they separated. But like I'm surprised to hear like the Pfizer thing, because they're like their most important work, and somebody who's kind of critical of them, I feel like their most important work has been around the with Pfizer, right? Like, and the things that they've released there. So to like to hear that came out with, like,
this is where the theory comes from, though, because
obviously,
separation with James and that conflict, that internal conflict, happened immediately after their biggest story ever, which was the Pfizer story, And that's another thing too. Like, James will act like he had a huge hand in that, and from what I understand, he didn't have a big hand in that. The most he did was he confronted the guy, Jordan, at the restaurant, which was a big video, and it was funny, but all that work was done by his team. This is the thing. Like, there's an entire team there who was behind him. And this is why he has these stupid skits now, like these TMZ style crap, because he doesn't have that amazing team anymore. He walked away from a lot of them. A few of them went with him. And I'm sure he hired some new people, and look, more power to them. Like, if there's more people covering stories, I think that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, he was not the one doing everything at Project Veritas. He was most of it. Sure, he had great ideas. He micromanaged, and we could comment on that as well, and how smart that is to always micromanage.
He did the fundraising.
He did the fundraising. He was very good at that. He was the face of the organization. That's true. And if anything, I think that was actually the weakness of Project Veritas, is that James didn't showcase more people there. He made it the James O'Keefe show. That's why you had all the dancing and all this stuff. And it's not like they had a problem with that necessarily. If anything, they actually kind of wanted him to do what he's doing now, to start a separate organization for that stuff, a for-profit organization, and then to keep Project Veritas separate for the journalism. But he wanted to keep views together, and that's, there you go. You have a difference in vision there that develops, and you don't own a nonprofit anymore. I'm sorry, but as soon as you establish it as that's not your company anymore.
Right.
It's bigger than you. And that's kind of, I look at the whole situation with him, is like, it's like he had a child. He gave birth to this child. The child grew up, became its own person. And instead of letting it grow up and expand, giving more, showtime and airtime to other people involved, giving more credit to the team and all these people, he wanted to reel it in and control it, and to keep it, under lock and key. And it's exactly how I want it, when I want it. And sorry, that's not, you have all these other people involved now. It's bigger than you.
Yeah. So you guys obviously understand the situation far deeper than I do. Like, I just kind of think the guy's a tool, and like I think he's interesting.
We're internet addicts.
Yeah, I know a couple.
I'm an internet addict, but like I just have kind of, I just am like whatever. And I think there's a place for him. Like, again, like I was amused to see Dylan Mulvaney, frantic in the Beverly Hills Hilton. Don't get me wrong. I love gossip as much as the next.
I personally wouldn't call it harassment either. I mean, look, you're fine to confront people like Dylan. If anything, Dylan should be confronted. My problem with that
Yeah.
video wasn't that. It wasn't that he confronted Dylan. It was that he confronted Dylan about a very specific story, men and women's prisons, that they put out. A very specific story that Dylan was not directly related to. And normally what they would do is, at least when he was with Project Veritas, is when they would have a new leak and a new story come out, they would confront someone directly related to that story. That's what they would do. Instead, what it seems
he tried to link him to this irrelevant story, right? Like
to that, he tried to ride off of the massive amount of attention that Dylan Mulvaney is getting to get more attention onto O'Keefe Media Group. That's what it seems like.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was his story too. Somebody linked it, and I only skimmed through it. I didn't totally watch the whole thing, but
what did that end up doing? All it did was it made the conversation about James O'Keefe and Dylan Mulvaney not the story.
Right, you were going back and forth with somebody in the replies on, like, you know what I mean, saying along that line, and I was just like, what the fuck video are we even talking about?
That's
like
my
this,
point,
you know what I mean? And then I went back and I was like, oh yeah, like the whole thing that he's harassing him is about a video of like rape in prison. But I was like, this is like an example. Like, I'm not like totally stupid, so like I should be able to watch a news clip and kind of get the gist of what's going on. Like, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I have no idea what's going on here. This is just a man chasing another man through the 4 seasons.
Exactly.
Like kind of amusing, but I'm not smarter because of it. Like, I don't know any new facts. I don't have any new information. I have no new opinion of either one of these men. It was just kind of like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Let's should be on TikTok. And
what he should have did was maybe, like what they'll normally do is they'll start those videos with the craziest moment of what they're about to show. So you took lure people in. So do that. Start with the craziest moment, whatever you're confronting Dylan, and then cut to some context and say, all right, here's the leak that we put out recently. Here's the story about what's happening.
Right. Yeah.
So people have context. Then you go to the video of you confronting Dylan. I still think Dylan shouldn't have been confronted about it because it wasn't related, but that at least would have brought attention to the story. No, the point wasn't to bring attention to the story. The point was to bring attention to James. That's the only way I can interpret that. So,
it totally was. I mean, like the thing was like he's known for editing, so why didn't he do some of that splicing? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, if he was the great journalist everybody's saying, like, there should be some context.
Remember what I said. Remember what I said.
His team, it makes sense now because you were saying his team did everything for him, and that seems to be, I guess, obvious. And like at the end of the day, I don't care that people don't like me because I don't like James O'Keefe. And I don't dislike him. I just don't think he's a great journalist. I don't think he's brilliant. You know what I mean? Like,
how dare you?
But like, but I also like, I don't care that Dylan Mulvaney got hit up by what I consider a paparazzi. Like, Dylan Mulvaney is a celebrity now. You know, that's part of your job, buddy. Like, you signed up for
it. Ordered, honey. Here it is.
Like, if anything, you should have played it up a little better for, you know what I mean, for the footage. Like, you should have made it seem like you were being really harassed. If you were a good celebrity, take that publicity and run with it.
Dylan actually was a little impressive in how composed he was able to stay. And,
you know what? Like, people will, like, I will make fun of Dylan Mulvaney until I die. And especially if he never gives up this whole woman shit. But at the end of the day, I don't hate Dylan. Like, I think he would probably be hilarious to hang out with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I look at Dylan, I see a flamboyant gay man who really wants attention and probably needs to go talk to somebody
to hang out
with. But I think he's funny, and I think he's really down the wrong path right now, and I hope he kind of corrects. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, you're a public figure. You're free to your paparazzi, like James O'Keefe paparazzi. Like, that's part of your territory. Yeah. Internet trolls like me making fun of you is part of your territory. But at the end of the day, like, I think you're a funny, decent person.
I don't know if I'd call him a decent person. I don't even know if I'd call him funny, entertaining.
Yeah. Okay, maybe decent person, because I'm not personally offended. So I always get corrected by like women, and I feel like an asshole because like it you know what I mean? Like, I'm not personally offended by Dylan because I'm not a woman. You know what I mean? So, but I certainly see where people would find that offensive. I am not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not offended. I think what he's doing is bullshit, and I totally can empathize with somebody that is offended, but I'm not. And so when I say like he's a decent person, I don't think he is intentionally trying to hurt anyone. I think he's trying to
wants
get a bunch of
attention.
attention.
Look, you
And,
got,
you know
you
what I
got
mean?
the attention you ordered, like you said. But I think the takeaway from that whole video is they both wanted attention. James wanted
Oh
it.
yeah, totally,
Dylan
totally.
wants attention.
But you're right. Dylan handled it in a way that is like, you're right. It was impressive because it seems like he would have played it up to get more attention, and he kind of almost played it down. So it was like, you know what I mean? Like out of character.
The story, and it's a very important story. I'm not going to take away from that. I think that story that the media group put out is an important.
I still don't know it, but I have to go. It looked more important. Like I kind of skimmed through your video, and I was like, not today, but
men and women's
sometime.
prisons. That's it.
The whole
the
phenomenon, the whole phenomenon of men and women's prisons as an issue as a whole is important.
Very common in California and Canada.
And
oh yeah.
And
and
in all the blue
Oregon,
states, it's really more popular.
And we've discussed it on our show before too. We had Heather Mason on, who's part of Cause Bar, and they talk all about this stuff and what's happening in Canada. So like, it is an issue we care about. We advocate for that stuff as well. And that was what upset me about the whole thing. It's like, dude, you put out this story that's really important, and instead of focusing on that, you overshadowed it with Dylan Mulvaney. And now everyone's just talking about Dylan, and you. And you even made people who don't like Dylan feel bad for Dylan. That's how cringe the video was.
Yeah, exactly. I do not feel bad for Dylan, but like I think my tweet got misconstrued that I feel bad, and I don't. Like I'm just whatever, dude. Like,
and also, I just want to
like,
say,
I have so much shit going on in my job. Like, this is the easiest thing that could happen to me if I got paid what you get paid to do this shit. Fine, but like, I don't feel bad for Dylan. Like, that's his territory. Like, you know what I mean? He signed up for that.
She's set for life. She got enough money. She's set for life. She got millions now. She's good. You don't have to worry about Dylan.
I heard somebody say we can cut that early. Can I pee and then can I pee first? I thought I was gonna make it.
Probably gonna wrap up.
Yeah, no, we could wrap it up.
We're
at 90 minutes in.
At 1:30. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd hate to make it sound like that, but I didn't know.
No, it's all good. Tell people where they can find you, Storm. What's your Twitter?
Pretty much the only place you can find me is on Twitter, and it's at Storm Robinson, which is my name. You can find my Instagram, but I will ignore you there probably. Yeah.
All right. Go follow Storm, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and we will be back again soon with another one.
Thanks for chatting with us, Storm. We appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for making
I appreciate you guys giving me a chance to kind of I feel like I talked too much, and I'm sorry.
Oh, you're the guest.
I feel bad for the way this is ending, but I got it. Like, I'm gonna
you gotta pee. It's fine.
But I do appreciate the opportunity to talk and be able to kind of
Thank
clear the air. So, yeah, hopefully we can do it again.
We'll do it again for sure. Later, man.
Love you.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.